I hope the screen is visible. श्रीवत्सवंशकलशोदधिकौस्तुभस्य श्रीवासराघवगुरोस्तनयं ततश्च विद्यावाप्य विबुधोत्तमतां दधानं कुर्वे सदा हृदि गुरुं करुणाकराख्यं लक्ष्मीनाथसमारम्भां नाथयामुनमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्परां यो नित्यमच्युतपदाम्बुजयुग्मरुक्मव्यामोहतस्तदितराणि तृणाय मेने अस्मद्गुरोर्भगवतोऽस्य दयैकसिन्धोः रामानुजस्य चरणौ शरणं प्रपद्ये मातापिता युवतयस्तनया विभूतिः सर्वं यदेव नियमेन मदन्वयानाम् आद्यस्य नः कुलपतेर्वकुलाभिरामं श्रीमत्तदङ्घ्रियुगलं प्रणमामि मूढ्ना भूतं सरश्च महदाह्वय भट्टनाथ श्रीभक्तिसारकुलशेखरयोगिवाहान् भक्ताङ्घ्रिरेणु परकाल यतीन्द्रमिश्रान् श्रीमत्पराङ्कुशमुनिं प्रणतोऽस्मि नित्यम् श्रीमान् वेङ्कटनाथार्यः कवितार्किककेसरी वेदान्ताचार्यवर्यो मे सन्निधत्तां सदा हृदि. In the previous lecture, we saw about the younger days of Jagadguru Ramanujacharya, where he was still a student. So we reached the point where he was a student of Yadava Prakasha, and how Yadava Prakasha wanted to get rid of Bhagavad Ramanuja, but through an information given by his cousin brother Govinda, Bhagavad Ramanuja managed to escape. There is one thing to remember when we look at these kinds of stories. It would have been very easy to write something like, he was divine, therefore they tried all sorts of things, nothing worked, everything backfired. But that has not been written. It could have been written, he knew about their plans in advance and punished them. That has also not been written. It could have been written that he knew about their plans in advance. Being the great Adishesha Nityasuri, he already has infinite knowledge. He already knows what is in their minds. Therefore, he escaped. But even that was not said. We said he got informed. And with that information, he took care of himself. Why does he need to be informed by others if he already has all that knowledge? The thing is, when they are coming in the form of humans, they will behave like humans. Rama, in spite of being the Ishvara of all, as Krishna would later say, Bhutanam Ishvaropi San. Rama, in spite of being Bhagavan himself, pretended to be a human. He took the help of Sugriva. He took the help of Vibhishana. He took the help of even Lakshmana. The same Lakshmana who is now coming here as Bhagavad Ramanuja. As it is famously said, Adau Jagadadharaha Sheshaha Tadanu Sumitranandana Veshaha Tadupari Dhritahala Musalagveshaha Tadanantaram Abhavad Gurureshaha. Adau Jagadadharaha Sheshaha. In the beginning, he was the Adishesha, who was Jagadadhara, the one who is bearing the entire Jagat, bearing the entire Andakataka, as explained in the scriptures. Tadanu Sumitra Nandana Vesha. Sumitra Nandana, that is Lakshmana, Saumitri, as he is called in Ramayana. He is the one who came as Lakshmana as well. Then he is the same one who was associated with Dhritahala Musala, referring to how Balarama was there along with Krishna. What was the weapon of choice of Balarama? For Krishna, we say it is Sudarshana Chakra. But for Balarama, what do we say? Do you know? Balarama's weapon was a plough. It is called Hala. Sometimes they call it Hala Yudha. He was good at Gada as well. That is why he taught Duryodhana. But by default, Balarama is depicted with a Hala. So he is Haladhari. So with a plough and a pestle, Balarama was there. Tadanantaram, after that, Abhavat Guru Reshaha. After that, in Kali Yuga, he came as Jagat Guru Ramanujacharya. Now, Bhagavad Ramanuja, just like how Rama took the help of various people in Ramayana, it is not wrong to take help because he is pretending to be a human and he is teaching us how to live. He is setting an example. Likewise, Bhagavad Ramanuja also took help. He took the help of Govinda. And he was lost in the forest, but Bhagavan himself protected him. We saw that. What all did we learn from the previous lecture? We learned that sincerity and hard work always pays off. He was fully sincere. He was so hardworking. It paid off. It paid off because of which he was able to the Shastra. If you are sincere to Bhagavan, you will not make mistakes. At least you will try your level best to stay away from making those mistakes. So, if you are to compare the lotus eyes of Bhagavan with the buttocks of a monkey, how unfair it would be. How unfair it would be to compare the lotus eyes of Bhagavan to the buttocks of a monkey. The people who had come before Bhagavad Ramanuja, all of them seem to have used that meaning. But Bhagavad Ramanuja was sincere. He did a lot of hard work, studied properly. Therefore, he was able to say, no, there are great acharyas and great sages of the past who have given a different interpretation as well. And he explained. So, Tasya Yatha Kapyasam Pundarikamevam Akshini, he gave the explanation for that statement of Chandogya Upanishad very beautifully by saying that it is like the freshly blossomed lotus. The eyes of Bhagavan are like that of the freshly blossomed lotus under the rays of the sun, morning sun. So, it made him a scholar. It gave him the blessings of Bhagavan. Because Dharma will protect the protector of Dharma. Dharma eva hatohanti dharmo rakshati rakshitaha. That dharmo rakshati rakshitaha. What is Dharma? The Shastras say, Dharanat Dharma ityahu. Dharma is that which does dharana. Dharana means bearing, sustaining. Therefore, dharma is that which sustains. Dharma is that which sustains, but by itself, it does not have any sentience. There is another meaning of the word dharma. If you see in Vishnu Sahasranama, what is it? Dharma is one of the names of Bhagavan himself. This is the reason why, even in Ramayana, Maricha himself says, Ramo Vigrahavan Dharma. Rama is the embodiment of Dharma. Why? He is Dharma himself. Swami Deshika, in Raghuvira Gadyam, he calls Rama as Sanatana Dharma. Bhagavan himself is the eternal Dharma. So when we say Dharmo Rakshati Rakshitaha, what do we really mean? We mean that Bhagavan protects the protector of Dharma. Bhagavad Ramanuja did not harbor any feeling of revenge. He heard that they are plotting to have him killed. He could have hidden somewhere, come out at night while the others were sleeping, tried to attack them, do something. He did nothing of that sort. He left, but he did not take revenge. A lot of people today, especially the modern Hindus, they have a problem in understanding these kinds of contexts. They are not to be blamed because people before them were taught the exact opposite. People were told to maintain peace and non-violence even when the other side was adharmic. But that is not the teaching of Sanatana Dharma. Krishna told Arjuna to fight for Dharma. So when you should fight, when you should not fight, it is very important. For the sake of Dharma, O Arjuna, you have to fight. Not for adharma. So, you have the right only when dharma allows it and dharma needs it. At other times, when dharma does not need it, you don't have to do it. Therefore, feelings of revenge, eye for an eye, these kinds of contexts, these types of teachings, these types of concepts are not present in Sanatana Dharma. We are told to control our senses properly. We are told to focus on the greater achievement. Had Bhagavad Ramanuja hid himself and then while the others were sleeping, murdered Yadava Prakasha, or maybe had he challenged Yadava Prakasha for a duel and done something to him, any kind of physical harm, the kind of people of today, many of them, they might still call him a hero. Okay, somebody tried to kill him, but the killer got killed. This is also protection of dharma, is it not? But that is not so. That is very incorrect. We learn from every single behavior of Bhagavad Ramanuja about perfect dharma. We learn so much about dharma from his life. Whether it was the incident with Yadava Prakasha or whether it was the incident with the Muslim ruler, we see that Bhagavad Ramanuja exercised non-violence. He practiced non-violence. Now, this non-violence, as we said, some people say non-violence is always correct. Violence is always wrong. But in Mahabharata, we see that the violence done by Arjuna was not really wrong. It was for dharma. Krishna himself indulges in violence. Rama indulges in violence. Narasimha indulges in violence. Parashurama indulges in violence. Varaha indulges in violence. So, Kalki is also going to do that. We are seeing that Bhagavan himself is setting an example. As he says, Yadyad acharati shreshtaha tatta devetaro naraha sayat pramanam kurute lokas tadanu vartate. Bhagavan says in Bhagavad Gita, whatever the Shrestha, the great man, does, the remaining people, by taking him as a role model, they also start following it. Whatever he sets to be pramana, that is accepted and followed by the entire world. And therefore, of the person at the position of Shrestha should have great responsibility. Bhagavan has the highest level of responsibility. And he himself has shown us that violence is not necessarily wrong. Therefore, the army that is at the border fighting and fending off terrorists and protecting our country, would you call the army as adharmic for fighting? No. That is dharma only. That is not adharma. If they turn back and kill our civilians, that is adharma. So, where to understand it as dharma, where to understand it as adharma matters. Not willing to understand it properly, non-violence was completely preached by certain people. Now, especially since the last 10 years or so, since the digital era is also very strong now. Digital era was in its very nascent stage in the past. Now there is social media, cheap data packs, so much digital content available, so many discussions, a lot of things are being found out. People are getting more educated. So people eventually realized that there is indeed something missing in the statement. So if you say ahimsa paramo dharma, they say dharma himsa tathaivacha. This dharma himsa tathaivacha, it has been understood by people that yes, you should retaliate for the sake of dharma. But how do you know when it is dharma and when it is not dharma? For you to know when it is dharma and when it is not dharma, you are not allowed to use your own free will. Free will should be used only after everything else. The authorities are the Shastras. The Shastras tell who can do what in which situation. Based on that, we take the decision. So, based on that, if we see, Yadava Prakasha was Bhagavad Ramanuja's guru. Therefore, even though he indulged in something so cheap, Bhagavad Ramanuja did not have the option of becoming cheap just like his guru. Therefore, he did not become cheap. He did not plot anything against his guru or anybody else. He did not. He simply went away. That is the mark of a peaceful person. Had he not done this, had he taken revenge on them, he would not have got the darshan of Bhagavan. But because he remained peaceful, Bhagavan gave him darshan. And what happened? Imagine Sakshat Sriman Narayana and the Shri, who is always there with him. Both of them are accompanying Bhagavad Ramanuja till Kanchipuram. What a blessing. What a blessing this was. Therefore, we should never have the feeling of revenge. Krishna does not tell Arjuna, oh Arjuna, they stole your land, they stole this, they did that. They did this to Draupadi, they did that to Draupadi. Therefore, you have to fight. No. Krishna says, oh Arjuna, it is your dharma to fight. Fight for the sake of dharma. That's a very, very important teaching. A very, very important teaching. Ultimately, you have to fight. Whatever you are doing is the same. But do not fight out of a feeling of revenge. Fight out of affinity to dharma. Affinity to Bhagavan. There's a difference between the two. That is the reason why, while Karna committed sin after sin after sin during the war, after he participated, of course. First 13 days or something, he did not participate, right? After he started participating, he indulged in sin after sin after sin. We do not see Arjuna doing that much. Unfortunately, whatever is popular is only the time when Karna is about to die. Before that, the parts are hidden, very conveniently hidden by people. But let us not get there. We are discussing about the story of Bhagavad Ramanuja. So, he did not have a feeling of revenge. Oh, how dare they plot this against me? I will take my revenge. I will ensure that they learn a lesson. He did not feel that way. He was completely sattvic. Sattvika sato vijneyah savai mokshartha chintakaha. That was the nature of Bhagavad Ramanuja. And therefore, Bhagavan also reciprocated. Now, today, we will learn a little more about his life. Let us first try to understand about a very, very quick introduction to his gurus. He studied under Yadava Prakasha, no doubt. Afterwards, he approached Yamunacharya. We saw the story a bit, right? That Yamunacharya had attained Paramapadam, and therefore Bhagavad Ramanuja returned to Kanchipuram. Eventually, he studied under Periyanambi, who is called Mahapurna. He learned the Brahma Sutras, Bhagavad Gita, the Upanishads, some amount of Rahasya Arthas. He got the Vaishnava Diksha of Pancha Samskara from Periyanambi. We have also seen, in short, about how Bhagavad Ramanuja got to learn the inner, deeper teachings, the Rahasyarthas, from Goshti Purna, Trikoshti Urnambi. So, he got to learn that from a different Acharya. There was one more called Tirumalayandan. In Sanskrit, we call him Maladhara. Now, this Maladhara, what do we say? Maladhara Gurum Vande Draminamnaya Deshikam. He taught the Dravida Veda to Bhagavad Ramanuja. And further, to some the verses of Tiruvaimozhi of Nammalvar, although the meanings were taught by Maladhara, Tiruvaranga Perumal Arayar, they say, he is the one who made Bhagavad Ramanuja to know the true contents of Tiruvaimozhi, and also the works of the great Yamunacharya. He also taught Subhashitas to Bhagavad Ramanuja. There was one more called Tirumalainambi, Sri Shailapurna. From Sri Shailapurna, Bhagavad Ramanuja learned about the inner meanings hidden inside Valmiki Ramayana. How it is Sharanagati Shastra, what are the inner teachings of it. He learned all of that. In this manner, he had multiple acharyas. Bhagavad Ramanuja himself had composed 9 works. The most important work is, of course, the Sri Bhashya, which was celebrated by Saraswati Devi herself. He composed Nitya Grantha for Vaishnavas to know how to live their daily lives. He composed Sharanagati Gadya, which teaches us about how to perform Sharanagati. Sharanagati Gadya does not just tell us the procedure, do this, do that, do this, do that. It is instead a very beautifully structured Gadya, which has a kind of conversation style. The Sharanagati Gadya is celebrated as an elaboration of the Dvaya mantra. And there is Sri Ranga Gadya. The Sri Ranga Gadya celebrates Bhagavan's Archa Swarupa. Sri Ranganatha is celebrated. Vaikuntha Gadya celebrates Sri Vaikuntha, that supreme abode of Bhagavan, that Vaikunthe tu pare loke Shriya Sardham Jagatpatihi, that Paraloka Vaikuntha is described, and Vaikunthanatha, Bhagavan, is also described, Paravasudeva. Apart from these, he also composed Vedanta Sara and Vedanta Deepa, both explaining the Brahma Sutras. When there is Sri Bhashya to already explain the Brahma Sutras, why do you need these two? They are short and sweet and make it easy for us to understand. They will not get into the great detail of the commentary to prove the meaning. Here and there, the most important things would be explained. So depending on the depth that you are capable of digesting, the same topic of Vedanta is presented to you as either Vedanta Deepa or Vedanta Sara or as Sri Bhashya. Bhagavad Ramanuja also composed Vedartha Sangraha. Vedartha Sangraha teaches about several important points in the Veda. So this is Vedartha Sangraha, not Vedanta Sangraha. He also composed a commentary on Bhagavad Gita, his Gita Bhashya. So many things he has done. You're saying so many. He could have done many, many more. Why did he not? He did not see the need to do it. Therefore, he did not. Is it necessary for us to compose something about Bhagavan? It is not really necessary. It is up to us whether we understand or we are capable enough and want to offer our own composition to Bhagavan. That is all up to us. So, if you look at sorry. So, when for instance, Bhagavad Ramanuja composes the Sharanagati Gadya, he converses with Bhagavan and Devi. He says, I seek you. He addresses Sri Devi. He says, Bhagavan Narayana Abhimatanurupa Swarupa Rupa Guna Vibhava Aishwarya Sheelagyanavadhika Atishaya Sankheya Kalyana Gunaganam Padmanarayam Bhagavatim Shriyam Devim Nityanapayiniim Niravadyam Devadeva Divya Mahishim Akhila Jagan Mataram Vasman Mataram Asharanya Sharanyam Ananya Sharana Sharanamaham Prapadye. How do you understand this? He could have just said Shriyam Sharanamaham Prapadye, but he is explaining the greatness of Sri Devi with so many qualifications. He is saying she is like this, she is like that. So he brings out the importance of Sri Devi in the Sampradaya, the Dvaya, which says Sriman Narayana Charana. When we say Sriman Narayana, we should understand that it is Narayana who is along with Sri Devi. And it is through her that we approach Bhagavan. We don't say Narayana Shri, we say Sriman Narayana. So, in this manner, I surrender to that Devi. He is telling. How should we take it? We should take it as his conversation to us, where he says that he is going and declaring his surrender to Bhagavan and Bhagavati. That is the way we should behave. That is Sharanagati Shastra. So, in the first Churnika itself, he is explaining a lot of things. This is how it is. We will anyway go through these kinds of things later. Right now, we are focusing on Bhagavad Ramanuja's life. So, let us return to his life story. He returned to Kanchipuram. He was performing Kainkarya. We saw that. After understanding what has happened, he started performing Kainkarya. He took water from the well. Every day he would take it to the temple. He was doing that. Yadava Prakasha returned. He found that Bhagavad Ramanuja is alive and well. Therefore, pretending that he had done nothing, pretending that he had planned nothing before, nothing bad, he approached Bhagavad Ramanuja and said, continue attending my classes. Continue learning from me. Bhagavad Ramanuja still considered Yadava Prakasha to be his guru. Because the Shastras are like that. You cannot have enough ego to decide how to behave. You need Guru Sambandha at all points of time. Even if your Guru is not perfect, you still need a Guru. That is better. Having an imperfect Guru is better than having no Guru at all. Therefore, Bhagavad Ramanuja started resuming his studies. In the meantime, the king who was ruling Kanchi, his child was possessed. Some say it is a Pishacha. Some say it is a Brahma Rakshasa. Whether it is Brahma Rakshasa or whether it is a Pishacha, we are not concerned. What matters more is that he was in the same country where the king's child got possessed. And the king was very, very sad. He heard from his ministers that there is a person called Yadava Prakasha with great mantra shakti. It is not a lie, mind you. Yadava Prakasha, although he made mistakes in philosophy, he did have a lot of mantra shakti. He was indeed a scholar. He was a master of rituals. All of those should be remembered about Yadava Prakasha. We cannot say that just because he was wrong here and there, he was totally useless. So, having heard about him, the king invited Yadava Prakasha to the palace. Yadava Prakasha also, along with his Shishyas, entered the palace. As he was entering along with his Shishyas, one of them was Bhagavad Ramanuja as well. Yadava Prakasha tried his mantras, but he was very confident of it working. But unfortunately, it did not work. Instead, the child, instead of getting cured, that evil being inside the child started laughing. And it said, "Oh Yadava Prakasha, I know who you are. And I know much more about you than even you know. Your mantras will not work on me. Your mantras will not work on me. I know who you were in your previous life. In your previous life, you were just an insect who consumed. You were just a worm-like insect who consumed the Shesha of Bhagavad Prasada consumed by Bhaktas. As a result of that, you got this great birth now. However, that does not mean that you have the power to send me away." Yadava Prakasha did not know what to say. So he asked, "Okay, fine. Since you know so much, you yourself tell me what should be done to remove you. Because if you are able to say this much, it means you also have some divine power. So be truthful and tell me what should we do to take you out of this body and spare the child." He is told at that time, "Along with you, there is a boy called Ramanuja. If he orders me to leave, I will leave." Yadava Prakasha was shocked. "I am here, the great Acharya, with so much mantra shakti. My mantras are not working on it. This boy, Ramanuja, is here as my Shishya. He is my Shishya who falls at my feet every day. But this fiend is saying that if he commands, it will immediately leave. How is this fair?" But although he was thinking that way, he knew he did not have a choice. His own mantras were not working. And at the same time, whether through him or whether through his Shishya, if it is solved, it is good for him only. He could say, "My Shishya only solved the problem." The king will be happy. The king will award Yadava Prakasha well. So, Yadava Prakasha thought, "Okay, fine." So, he commanded Bhagavad Ramanuja to step forward and tell it to leave the body. Bhagavad Ramanuja also did that. But he also, being a very intelligent person, told it to give signs of it leaving. How do we know that you have left the body? Please give us a sign from which we may know that you have left the body. Left the body. So it did likewise. It left the body, and as a sign that it has left, it broke the branch of a nearby tree. That tree was mutually agreed upon as that it would be a sign, and therefore, with that, everybody learned that it has left the body of the child of the king. Therefore, the king, who had witnessed this completely, he, along with his family, paid respects to Bhagavad Ramanuja, praised him. Yadava Prakasha, instead of feeling happy that his Shishya is the one who has solved it, he again started feeling bad. He started feeling jealousy. How could my Shishya get all the credit when I am standing here? He once again felt bad. Again, they returned. Yadava Prakasha started teaching again. Again, once in a while, there would be a philosophical clash. In this manner, it kept on going. So, at some point, Yadava Prakasha felt, if I keep him with me, my other Shishyas will stop coming to me and become his Shishyas. He keeps countering, and I am unable to prove him wrong anywhere. Therefore, let me do one thing. Let me send him away for good. Let him do whatever he wants, but let him not be near me. Thinking in this way, the great Yadava Prakasha sent Bhagavad Ramanuja away. He said, from today onwards, you don't have to study under me. You go, you find an appropriate place for you, you find an appropriate guru for you. Whatever you want in life, you do. But don't come to me. Bhagavad Ramanuja left. He left for Kanchi, where he would continue doing his seva to Bhagavan. It was during this time that Yamunacharya wanted to meet Bhagavad Ramanuja and sent Periyanambi, but before Bhagavad Ramanuja could arrive, Yamunacharya attained moksha. We saw that part of the story already. So, Yamunacharya, who had already seen Bhagavad Ramanuja, but had not interacted at all, he wanted Bhagavad Ramanuja to become a Shishya, but during his lifetime, it did not happen. When he heard that studies under Yadava Prakasha have been stopped, he thought this is the best time. The time worked, but unfortunately or fortunately, Yamunacharya attained moksha before Bhagavad Ramanuja could reach him. So we will look at how, by singing about Yamunacharya, Periyanambi attracted Bhagavad Ramanuja, but Yadava Prakasha was gone. Yamunacharya could not become the direct guru of Bhagavad Ramanuja. But knowing about the three desires of Yamunacharya, Bhagavad Ramanuja took a pledge that I will definitely fulfill all the three. We will conclude the lecture here. If anybody has anything to share or ask, please feel free. What all the numerous mantras could not do, Bhagavad Ramanuja's words were capable of doing. Why? Because he was close to Bhagavan. It is necessary for us to be close to Bhagavan. That is more important than building our own intellect and intellectual greatness and so on. What is better, debating every day and learning something from people, or praying to Bhagavan? Praying to Bhagavan is definitely better. So with that, we'll conclude today's lecture. I don't see any question, so we can end it here. Jivatma Kaustubhasya Shivasaraghavacharya Tatasya Vidyavapi Bhakamatam Dadhanam Kubesda Hridi Gurum Karuna Karakyam Pranamam Lakshmana Muni Pratigranatu Mamakam Prasadeti Yatsuktis Adhina Patikam Shrutim. इसे वाग्वृत्ति पर्यंता इति राज सरस्वती तस्मै वेदांत गुरवे भूयो भूयो नमो नमः तस्मै रामानुजार्याय नमः परमयोगिने यश्रुति स्मृति सूत्राणाम् अन्तर्ज्वरमशीषमत्. Thank you for that. The climate has changed, no? So I got a cold. That's all. I'm
Thank
ending.
you very much, Guruji. Jai Shri Ram.
Thank you. Jai Shri Ram.